Welcome to the table, everybody. The movie that I'll be bringing today is This Boy's Life, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro. Real heavy drama, and this was actually Leonardo DiCaprio's first big starring role. So this is a movie that I had watched growing up pretty regularly, because this was not at Leo's, peak. However, my sister and I had discovered this movie around Titanic era, and my sister was obsessed with Leonardo DiCaprio at the time. So, pretty much every movie that he had been in pre-Titanic, we needed to go and rent. So I had seen this movie very regularly, around 1997. So I guess, Frage, you both have never seen this movie. So Frage, your preconceived notions about This Boy's Life.
Well, our topic for the first round of movies here is 1993, as we revealed last time. So, kind of our process when we're talking about our topics is we kind of have to go around and look at movies that we've never seen before. And, kind of discuss as a group, like, what have you not seen, as opposed to what have you seen. Makes it a little easier.
Yeah.
This Boy's Life came up for both me and Du.
Yep.
And when you said, Randy, because people at home can't see who I'm looking at,
Right.
When you had said, This Boy's Life with DiCaprio and De Niro, I said, not only have I never seen this, I've never heard of it, and I didn't know that those two people were in it until you said it the night we talked about doing this show.
Crazy.
So I had literally zero preconceived notions and a completely 100% blind watch of this movie. All right, Du, you're up.
So preconceived notions. DiCaprio never really did it for me.
What?
Yeah.
Ever? Sorry.
No. Pre 2000.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
I can't with you.
Yeah. So Titanic, I didn't give a shit.
Get out of my house.
Yeah. All I remember DiCaprio is from not Family Ties, the other one.
Silver Spoon.
No, not Silver Spoon.
Oh wait, he was.
Growing
It was Alan. Yeah, Growing
Oh, there it
Thing.
is.
Yeah,
I knew
Alan
he did
Thicke.
that. Who was on Silver Spoon?
That was
Ricky
Ricky Schroeder.
No. There was a guest. Was it Johnny Depp? There was somebody that was
Bateman. I think it was Jason Bateman.
Okay,
Yeah, Bateman is
all right.
on.
All right.
Yeah,
Sorry, I digress. Go ahead, Du.
Teen Wolf 2, Jason Bateman.
That's right.
So, DiCaprio pre him getting a little bit more, less teen heartthrobby is where I started to pay attention to him. Anything before that, I was like, oh, this guy,
I agree with that, but however, this movie and What's Eating Gilbert Grape, he certainly wasn't heartthrobby in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, so it was
Well,
like pre-Titanic.
It's funny enough you mentioned that because I have a comment about that a little bit later.
Fair. All right.
You don't want to blow it down? You want to save it?
No, we'll save it to the acting portion.
Okay,
Saving
sure.
it, huh? Well,
Yeah.
I had seen this movie several times leading up to this. I did rewatch it before our podcast here, but yeah, it's a movie that I guess I really enjoyed, even though it was very heavy for my age at the time. So it was just one of those where I'd seen it regularly, and I guess that means that it was good enough to watch again and again. I'd probably seen it at least a handful of times when I was growing up. And it in my memory, it held up every time that I rewatched it then. So in my preconceived notion, I guess, going into this podcast was that, it's going to hold up again.
I actually was quite interested when we were talking about it and selected it as a podcast topic episode. Because I am a mark for DiCaprio. I'm a super mark for Titanic and all Titanic related things.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that is what defines him, because I actually think of that as more of a Kate Winslet movie than a
Sure.
DiCaprio movie.
Yeah.
But either way, like, DiCaprio, I feel like, has never put out a bad performance. And no, don't give me the stink face. So, dude,
Romeo and Juliet.
he was fantastic in
Get
that.
the fuck out of town.
Anyway, so this is why we hate each other. So when you say, "Oh, it was DiCaprio's first movie," and I went, "Oh, you mean Gilbert Grape?" Which was the same year, by the way.
Yep.
Which I know you may have just said that. I'm not sure. But like, Gilbert Grape is like all the way, right? And I'm like, oh well, if there's a movie around that era and it's DiCaprio and I've never seen it, like I was excited.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, give me something new. I love a new, something I've never seen before. I seek out something I've never seen before, which kind of makes this podcast so fun and challenging because, like, we all kind of have that in us, right? We're collectors of everything,
Knowledge
and memories and experiences. And
I've always called us videophile bon vivant, and
fuck you.
yeah, raconteurs everywhere.
That's right.
Yeah.
I've always thought of myself as such.
Spell that for me, would you?
FUCKYOU.
Well played.
So, as somebody who says, "Oh, I love the whole concept of this podcast where I get to watch something new that I've never seen before."
Yeah.
And I don't know, De Niro is like, one of the pillars of,
Going straight into acting.
No, it's a preconceived notion.
Okay. Okay.
In that, De Niro is, a legend in his own mind, and and a few other people's, I guess. So, it's like, how can this be a bad movie, right?
Sure.
And this was, would you say? I mean, this is kind of the middle of his career, I guess. I mean, he's still acting.
This is an
30
ebb.
years after,
Right. This is an
Well-
ebb for him because he, 70s,
Right.
70s, 80s. He's high, right? Godfather 2, getting up
This
there.
is 19 years after Godfather 2.
Right. And so,
So-
he's at the ebb, but he came back down
He did.
towards and I think this is at his ebb.
I don't know because this is 93. So this is smack dab exactly in the middle of Goodfellas and Casino,
Right.
which I feel like Goodfellas is his peak.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And not to say it's his best, but I think it's his career peak.
Yeah.
After that, he was on the down slope. Casino might be my favorite De Niro movie,
Okay.
I agree. I think completely I agree with that, yeah.
but other than Godfather 2, which, whatever.
Mine, he's only in 20 minutes of.
But I think you're talking De Niro performances, or you're just talking movies that he's in?
Yeah, I think I was just thinking
Limitless.
movies.
Hands down.
Yeah,
Son of a
Limitless.
bitch, I might pick
Kidding.
Heat. I might
Oh,
go
Heat, you're right.
'cause,
Yeah, Heat.
Kidding. Absolutely
Anyway,
kidding.
well, Heat was 95 also in Casino.
You're right.
So that might be his peak. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're getting completely off topic.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
We're talking De Niro. Which,
Okay. Well, I don't know. I guess you can maybe lead the discussion here as far as
yeah, so I mean, we've talked about this in previous episodes where we're just kind of, we're all, lovers of the Oscars, the Academy Awards. And so we've decided to, bullet point some topics here. And so we're going to talk about, some of the technical, we're writing and music, editing. We'll talk about the acting. We'll talk about directing. Some random thoughts that we have. We're going to rank the movies, where we're at here. And then, our post-conceived notions, anything that we have after the fact. So before we get into it, let me just open one of these.
this is our unofficial sponsor of To the Table, Ham's the Beer Refreshing.
And let's...
I was going to say if Ham's, from the land of clear blue waters, is listening to this and would like to sponsor us, then
Yeah, absolutely.
we would gladly take that on.
Yeah.
I'd love it. But let's talk some technicals. So, Frage, do you have any technical points for us?
Well, really, most of everything that I wrote down in this movie was kind of opinions of, like, the characters, and I feel like most of them were writing oriented.
Yeah, this is all a very, very character driven movie, right? Like, you have like establishing shots here and there, but nothing that you can go, oh, this one, this for cinematography, or this one, this for this. But it's clearly it's for the actors. The director used the characters and the actors as pieces, set pieces
Based on
in
a
the
true
film.
story,
Yeah.
based on a book. Yeah.
So I do take issue with the true story thing. which we can get to kind of at the end, I guess. I don't know.
Fun fact:
So-
they did shoot in the actual concrete.
Oh,
Oregon.
the concrete is a real place, and they shot it in the real town.
Yep, and they had to bring in all of the period.
Well,
Pieces
yeah.
for-
Period pieces are hard
Yeah.
in general. I do love a period piece. I do love the 50s. And we can. I don't know if that really falls under, maybe
I say let's-
production design.
Yeah, technical. And
I
it did look 50s.
I thought it looked the 50s. I know while we were watching this movie, I literally said, maybe more than once, that I would love to live in the 50s. I think I'm just enamored with the 50s as a decade.
Well, and this movie evokes that time period, right? If say you're watching Elvis right now, right? How polished is that fucking movie?
It does not feel like the 70s when you
Or
watch
the
Elvis.
50s, yeah.
Right, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and the dinginess, the muted tones of the film.
I was gonna say, how much of that has to do with the fact that everything is digital and now versus film stock? Because I feel like the fact that everything is digital now really.
I think it also has to play with budget as well, right? They maybe shot that film for 20 mil, maybe. I think it was 15. But don't quote me on that. But the fact that they didn't have enough, so we went to concrete, we spent it all on cars and clothing, so we're gonna shoot wherever the fuck we possibly can and hope like hell it transfers over.
Yeah, and that really would have been the budget, right?
Yeah.
That would have been most of their budget.
Right.
So, I mean, De Niro was able to probably get a fair sum of that. But, yeah, you're right. But it did definitely feel 50s. You got a number on the budget?
Well, I just briefly looked at the Wikipedia page because I feel like that's usually where I would go.
Yeah.
And it shows that it made a box office of $4 million. It lists no production cost. So
It could be,
it may have lost money
yeah.
then in that case.
Yeah.
I was going to say, this is when you were talking, editing or cinematography or whatever, there's nothing notable.
Right.
Right? Which is kind of why this movie isn't famous, I
Yeah.
guess we'll say.
The
Quote,
biggest
unquote.
what is it, the biggest action scenes are Barkin shooting the targets and then Leo wrecking the car, and that was barely anything. They just kind of put it in the ditch.
Right, yeah, but those aren't big budget scenes or
No.
anything. They're just memorable, like you said, action scenes.
Right.
So really nothing that they had to do
Right.
taken from the budget for those.
Right, it's just a plot point
Yeah.
that they, you
Right.
scrounge up a couple extra cars and you wreck them and whatever.
And I don't think they barely did enough to wreck it.
It felt like it cost more than $4 million anyway when we were watching it.
Yeah. And I wonder what De Niro's salary was on that. But
Yeah.
Well, right, because you feel like it's got to be $1 million, right? Like De Niro at this point, coming out of Goodfellas, he's got to be making a guarantee.
Well,
He's not making scale.
and everybody else
Oh.
on that set is making scale. Absolutely.
Well, what? I don't know. Did Ellen Barkin did she do anything super famous?
she was in things.
I know she was in things,
Yeah, I
but
don't.
she didn't.
Barkin
have
had a huge career in the 90s, but nothing of substance.
There wasn't anything,
Yeah.
right? There isn't a tent pole where you go, oh, that's the lady from whatever.
What I attribute her most now is Ocean's 13.
Okay. I know she was just in that episode of Poker Face
Oh.
on Peacock.
Oh yes, yeah, she was.
Which is
Hold on one
about,
second. I got to open up our other non-sponsor Liquid Death Water.
So Barkin was in Diner. She was in Eddie and the Cruisers, and then before this,
Which
she
you've never
was in-
seen, and I've always pushed for you to see it.
Well, you're right, and she
Eddie
was
and
in
the
the Big
Cruisers.
Easy.
I've also never seen it, so
I mean, future.
we gotta figure out how to work.
But you gotta watch them both. Eddie and the Cruisers
No,
and
you
Eddie
don't.
2.
No,
Eddie lives.
if I don't like, well, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, enough to demand a high salary or whatever. But yeah, and De Niro definitely was the heavy hitter on this one.
But I thought, to the point, I thought they did a great job of making it look and feel like the 1950s.
Yeah.
The hairstyles on Leo, I was like, that's cool. I like that. All of his friends, like the costuming. You know,
Oh, you mean Tobey Maguire?
Oh,
Tobey Maguire has 2 scenes in the movie.
Yes, but it is his first like paid Screen Actors Guild. So this is
He got his card.
This is his SAG card like movie, and so this has
no.
started the blossomed friendship between Leo and Toby.
which you'll elaborate on in a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you don't want to talk about that now.
You want to talk about it now?
Well, I don't want to talk about it at all.
Okay, so let me just, as we're getting into acting, let me fun facts with Uncle Drew. This is not so much as a fun fact as a what the fuck. In this time, right, Leo and Toby are going up for the same roles everywhere.
Sure.
They tried for, the TV shows, they tried for This Boy's Life, everything. And so they started becoming friends. Lucas Haas of Witness and Inception fame. He's
And
the
truly,
weird
one of these things is not like the other.
Yeah, he is the weird looking one. Also, in that friend group, they got together. Colloquial referred to as the Pussy Posse. Now, this is them giving themselves this moniker.
Do we know which one of them came up with it? I feel like it's a Maguire.
It is a Maguire because when they went to Cannes one time,
The town in France where the film festival is.
correct, DiCaprio goes to Maguire and goes, bet you I can sleep with more Victoria's Secret models than you know what. And so from then, they were called the Pussy Posse. Notable members of the Pussy Posse.
There's more than just the 2 of them.
Oh, yeah. David Blaine,
David Blaine?
the
The
magician.
magician?
The ma-
He's friends with them?
He is in the Pussy Posse. Let's see. Harmony Cohen from Kids.
Kids, the Rosario Dawson sex movie?
Yes.
Okay.
So they got such a notable thing about them is they went from nightclub to nightclub. It was worse than the Rat Pack, the Brat Pack, all of that. But they gave this moniker to themselves, to the point where like at one point in time they kept pestering Elizabeth Berkley of Saved by the Bell and Showgirls fame,
Sure.
to go out with them, and she was seeing somebody at the time. And one of them got her phone number and kept calling her and calling her. The boyfriend answers the phone and says, leave her the fuck alone. Well, the next time they were out together, one of them headbutts the dude and says, we're going to go kick his ass. And, like, they all ditch because then it would have been in the papers the next day. And they
The
beat
papers
this...
were such a novel thing,
Yeah.
right?
They also decided to make a notorious film that has never seen the light of day before. It is called Don's Plum. If you ever get a chance, read the awful story that is Don's Plum. Don's Plum is a movie about a
I
group,
hate the name already.
I know.
yeah, a group of friends who go to this diner called Don's Plum.
Whose plum was it?
Don's?
Okay.
And
I fucking love you, Randy.
so it was such a hate-filled, misogynistic film that every major film company squashed it from being produced. And like there's a lot of major like court cases for the release of this film because they tried to squash it so much because Weinstein.
So it's a script. They didn't actually film it.
No, they filmed it. It is shot it's done. Like
Who shot it?
it
The
was
Pussy Posse, clearly.
yeah, it was everybody
so
within.
They wrote, directed, and
Yes.
Oh, no
yeah,
shit,
the Pussy
okay.
Posse put it together and put it
A
through.
Pussy Posse production.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And so that friendship has lasted quite a long time because Lucas Haas is in Inception. Tobey Maguire made Great Gatsby with Leo. So the Pussy Posse is still around. It's just not as to the forefront as you might think.
It's almost like a secret Illuminati club, is what you're saying.
Pussy Posse. Jesus
You don't
Christ.
like them.
No, absolutely not.
You would. So, yeah, you would absolutely join the Pussy Posse.
Absolutely not. I hate David Blaine.
David Blade doesn't count.
Yes, he does.
He kind of doesn't count.
He's like the fourth member. Remember, he is the...
No. I thought Lucas Haas was the,
No, he's number 3.
right. But David Blaine really takes the cake as the lowest man.
No.
There.
So Lucas Haas is like Sammy Davis Jr. in this. David Blaine is the Peter Lawford / Andrew Garfield. Not Andrew Garfield. Andrew, what's...
Now there's a guy that could be in the Pussy Posse, Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, I think he's too nice.
So is DiCaprio old blue eyes in this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. He's
Wait,
the
so
Sinatra.
that would put
That's a
Maguire.
shame. That's a shame.
He's a
because
dean, yeah.
Really? I
Yeah.
don't know.
I really wish that was reversed because I fucking hate Frank Sinatra, and I love Dean Martin, and I love Leonardo DiCaprio, and I don't know. I can kind of give two shits about Tobey Maguire. He's neither here nor there for me.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Unless he's
Really,
fighting.
really digressed.
So I do apologize, but I didn't know if you guys had ever heard the exploits of the Pussy Posse, and everybody should know
It had to be told. So.
how terrible the Pussy Posse was.
So from technical aspect, I mean, really the only thing that I put of note other than that was just Carter Burwell's score. I mean, he really does no wrong, and here is no exception. I feel like he did a great job. Great music.
Carter Burwell nominated for an Academy Award just this year for The Banshees of Inisherin.
Yeah.
So still making movies, and scores and that are nice. Again, like we said in a previous episode, I tend not to hear scores.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just not something that's in my brain. I also have bad hearing, so maybe that's a thing.
When it's good, it's like you're in it, but when it's
But Burwell, also he's a
Inconsequential,
Coen
yeah.
Brothers guy.
oh yeah, okay,
And, I mean, he never puts in a bad performance. Whether
Okay.
it's just in the background or not. I mean,
Maybe that's the thing, though. Maybe it's like when the score is great, you don't notice it
Yeah.
because it's so great. And if it's bad or out of place, then it's
Right.
and maybe that's a tribute to that guy. So I don't know, but
no, it's a good point. And then otherwise, like the songs, strewn in throughout the movie, very 50s.
right, soundtracky.
Yeah.
This one's a good mix of score and soundtrack.
Where DiCaprio was singing around the piano and
With Eliza Dushku.
Dushku singing around the piano.
Everly Brothers.
As we talked about, definitely feeling.
Was it her first movie too? I feel
pretty sure, yeah.
I feel like it's up there.
We gotta look at Bye Bye Love because she's also in Bye Bye Love. And, that might have been 95.
Oh,
I think
the
2007.
callback from episode 1.
So Eliza Dushku, Bye Bye Love, she's in that.
Maybe we're gonna Paul Reiser for a topic in the
Ooh,
future.
This might be
She's
good.
definitely older. Okay, all right. So we've kind of already dabbled a little bit into the acting here, but let's jump over to acting.
Well, I was gonna say, as far as the screenplay goes,
Oh,
and
sure,
the
sure.
writing of
Yeah.
the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's where I really have issues with this movie.
Okay.
Well, first of all, we were talking about the 50s. This movie was set in 1957, which was 35 years prior to when it came out.
Yeah.
So if we think about that in today's terms, that would be like a movie set in 1987 for us,
Yeah.
which, like, I would be all in. for
Stranger
that.
Things.
More or less.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Now you're speaking my language.
Right.
So
That is the time frame.
I'm
from,
trying to now, the 80s being the other time period that I would choose to live in if I could
Oh, yeah.
Groundhog Day myself into some sort of like era. So that tracks for me, that I would dig that. And then, I was just trying to put myself in the mindset of somebody in 1993, like looking back and that, relative. But as far as the screenplay goes, did you want to say something? You looked like you were going to.
Nope.
You're stink facing.
Can't put it on the podcast. Let's keep going.
All right.
All right. So the screenplay is really what honks me off on this movie,
Yeah.
because it's fucking boring, and it's a nothing happening movie. So
It is.
now I've got all kinds of notes about the screenplay and how boring it is. What?
Mine. My first note lines up to your. Ellen Barkin is lost until somebody pays attention to her throughout the whole fucking movie.
Yeah. Are you saying that she's the Meg Ryan of this movie?
Oh, absolutely.
Since we're calling back. So
She's not a great actress to begin with.
She's better than Meg Ryan.
I time stamped when I don't know if it was a bathroom break or something, but it was 40 minutes in.
Yeah.
I don't know what the total runtime is on this movie. Hour and a half?
I think it's
Not
a
even
little
a little
140.
more, 140.
Hour 40?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so 40 minutes in, not quite to the midpoint yet, which is a very distinct midpoint. But 40 minutes in, there was really no story. It was just people living their lives. If DiCaprio is our main character, he has no objective other than he's living his life on the run, so to speak, kind of forced into whatever situation.
From poor Chris Cooper, who gets seen twice and then just gone.
He's great, by the way,
Oh, yeah?
in everything.
Yeah.
So, but like, what is his objective? There isn't one. So, I don't know. It's like I feel like there wasn't anything that came together until at least that point. So, there was really the part where DiCaprio gets shipped off to go live in.
You know what this made me feel like? It made me feel like it's a very terrible ripoff of To Kill a Mockingbird.
Ooh, I never really thought about that.
Sure.
It's different.
But I see your point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So DiCaprio gets shipped off to live in the town of Concrete, which is a weird name, but apparently it's real.
It's real.
Weird. And that, like, to be a better boy or whatever the line is, I feel like that was the first time in the entire movie where we had the semblance of a story.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, now I can start like caring about
Giving a
anybody.
shit, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but what? It's a strange, and you had to take like it's the MacGuffin, right? It is the leap of faith that whoever wrote this movie asks of its viewers, right? It's this Ellen Barkin's like, oh, I kind of know this guy, and you're just gonna go live with him because you're being a shithead, and I've only known him for like 2 months, so go have fun.
It does feel weird, however, in 1957, things were a lot different, and a single mom in 1957, I
Maybe
don't
she
know.
felt like I get the point is that you're supposed to see, you can't just start at the De Niro. You have to show a build up. And how did she get to that point? So instead of like boring us with the first 13 years of this boy's life,
Yeah.
we just start on the run.
Yeah.
Where they're off to like make money with uranium. How the fuck does that work? I don't even know. It's
There was-
literally on my notes.
There's uranium boom.
Yeah, but I don't even know what that means. What do you do with it?
You turn it into the United States government, and they make bombs on
So
it.
you find it,
Yep.
and then you sell it to the government,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the whole gimmick.
Yeah, it's like any precious metal.
Yeah, but if you find gold, I don't like.
Right,
That's
there's
your
a,
money.
There's a lot more regulatory with uranium because of the lethality of it and what can be done with it.
If you strike oil, who do you call?
Mobile. Texaco.
I don't know. Like you're right.
But,
like
yeah.
Jed
Oil busters.
Clampett.
Hey,
Who does
right.
Jed Clampett get his money from?
I found
Like-
oil. Now, what the fuck do I do
BP
with it?
knocks on the door.
So
Right.
anyway, I don't know where the fuck uranium like comes from or what they do with it, but they were on the run for it. So that's fine. Like and then they go through the Chris Cooper episode, and then it's like, oh, she's got to find something to settle down with. She's gonna settle, like in the true sense of the word.
Right.
And DiCaprio is a victim of circumstances,
Yeah.
we'll say. So I just didn't buy, like, is she the main character in the first 40 minutes of the movie and then
Yeah.
they just switch? Like, that's weird.
Well, yeah, because, DiCaprio didn't do anything really worthy of getting shipped off. Yeah, was he a piece of shit in school or, whatever, was he acting up a little bit? But nothing worthy of like, hey, I'm going to ship you off somewhere. It's like
With a stranger.
She was the one that was, hey, I'm
Yeah.
going to move us from here to here, and
Yeah.
I'm going to go out with this guy, and I'm not going to pay attention to you, and I'm going to
Right.
be this. And then it's like, oh, by the way, since I've done all this, you're going to go live with this guy for
Yeah.
a while. So, yeah, it really didn't add up. And you're right that was the first time in the movie where you felt like, oh, hey, something happened.
Right. And then the midpoint of the movie, screenplay-wise, they get married and she realizes that he's actually a heel and he's not
Oh, that's the greatness of De Niro. That's one of my points is the greatness of De Niro. He just gives off villain vibes immediately.
You think he was a villain vibe before, like, say, the scene where he basically rapes her in the bed?
With a cup of coffee, even like he's trying to win everybody over with the way that he is, and he comes off so ingenuine that they even make fun of him for it.
I could stand a good cup of Java.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's just everything was very performative from Dwight as a person.
Right.
And so like he just gave off these villain vibes immediately for me.
Yeah.
So we can talk about character nuances and the acting thing and,
Yeah.
and whatever we can get there.
Yeah.
I was just kind of wanting to complain that structurally it's not good.
No.
No.
And the midpoint of the movie is basically where he reveals himself to be a villain, you know, and now we actually have something to, like, sink our teeth into, like, you know, the passive, look the other way mom, the victim of the boy, and all of that jazz.
Truman
So-
Capote Dill, the friend who gets him into the boarding school, which he gets kicked out of immediately.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
we'll just segue. I mean, we're already here, but let's go into acting a little bit. You know, I mean, DiCaprio's first, lead role. De Niro's already established, but I mean, these are our two main. So,
So-
what do we got here?
Fun fact with Uncle Do, Bob immediately calls Marty.
you can't use those words.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know me. That's what I do.
So we go to Tribeca.
So Bob calls Marty and he goes, "You got to watch out for this kid, this Leonardo DiCaprio. He's fantastic. He's going to be something, and so watch out for him." Which was huge because Robert De Niro does not do that. He does not. There's only one other person he's ever put himself out for, and that is Bradley Cooper. He's never put himself like this. This is the future of filmmaking. You want to be a part of this kid's life. Like, get on board the Leo DiCaprio train because it's coming and it's gonna bowl us all over.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, well, and, he did go on to, DiCaprio, pronouns pal, went on to star in many Scorsese films.
And another one coming up pretty
Coming
soon.
out, yeah.
Flowers.
Yeah. But I mean, for his first real outing,
Yeah.
DiCaprio, I mean, why wouldn't De Niro do that? I mean, when you see DiCaprio's performance in this movie, I mean, anybody can see, actor, non-actor, whatever. It's like, holy shit, this kid is awesome.
This is the point where I have to make the point that I was going to say. Towards the end of the movie, you can kind of tell DiCaprio is going the way of Gilbert Grape as his next film, because then there's certain things he starts doing, the way he moves, the way he acts, and you're going, oh, you're preparing for that.
Which is what? You gotta give me one example.
There's certain body language things that he does, the way he tosses his head or the way he interacts with somebody. He evokes like I'm moving over to this Gilbert Grape role, and you can tell that they're filming it at the same time.
You can't say you can tell because we can't tell.
You
But
can tell.
I wonder because I mean, This
Well,
Boy's Life was released in April and Gilbert Grape was released in December. I don't know how far apart they were filmed.
Well, and DiCaprio grew so much that he had to hunch in a lot of his scenes with De Niro because of that growth spurt. His hair changes constantly because he had to grow it out
I
for.
did notice the hair change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way that they shot it so weird in the order of things, that some of that is noticeable.
Sure. DiCaprio has whatever it is, much like, we kind of said, or I said, that Tom Hanks has that immeasurable amount of it. There's a charisma. There's this thing that every actor wants and tries to get, and they try too hard. And for people like DiCaprio, it's just like there. And I would not say the same about Bob De Niro, but DiCaprio, I don't know, like you can tell by watching that movie that this kid is going to be world famous.
Yeah.
And if that isn't evident by his second film, Gilbert Grape, What's Eating Gilbert Grape, it's like, holy shit,
Right.
you know.
Well, it's saying a lot also. At this point in time, Bob's thinking about more villain roles. Like we have The Fan coming up, right? We have a few other.
Was The Fan also 1995? Did he do 3 movies in
It
95?
might have been 95.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or 94, 95, yeah.
And so he's looking for these harder edge roles that.
Well, in 93, I think, was Cape Fear.
Yeah,
Also.
Cape Fear.
Yeah. Max
So
Cady.
he was going heel.
Yeah.
93.
Bob De Niro is one of those people that is highly regarded as one of the greatest actors of all time. And we should think about maybe looking into having him as a topic.
That's going to be a hard one.
It is, but I think doable.
I think we can do it.
Okay.
So, like, I even think at some point, if you look at his Wikipedia page, it says that he's like one of the greatest actors of all time. I'm not buying it. I'm not saying he hasn't been in some of the most famous movies. I do feel like he has that face that is, you can't change it.
Well,
Like, he cannot be a chameleon. He cannot be in everybody. He cannot be whoever.
well, no, not. Well,
Like, he is always Bob De Niro.
that
no
is
matter
very
what.
true. I was gonna say like Tom Hanks, he's in everything, and so does Bob De Niro. But Bob De Niro plays Bob De Niro in everything. Like
And-
analyze that. He's a mobster who has
He's
a funny
cartoon
side.
character.
Yeah.
You know, Meet the Fockers. He's Bob De Niro being a little bit more of a hard ass.
At that point in
And
his
so-
life, though, he just became. He just said, "I'm just going to play myself in every movie." Like
A Pacino Denzel's.
But I
I don't
do
know about
feel like
Denzel.
Goodfellas is different enough from This Boy's Life. That's
Oh,
different
absolutely.
enough from Heat. That's different enough from even Casino.
I think he got
do-
to a point where he was
so-
like, I just don't need to try anymore
I
because
do believe that.
yeah.
I'm not saying that the movies aren't different.
No, I'm saying the characters.
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
portrayal of the characters.
I feel like there's no hiding the face though.
You're right.
And,
I mean,
like it's such.
You
a,
can tell when he has fun, but when he's just there for a paycheck.
his face pisses me off.
Yeah.
And he does that fucking that dude's doing it, but I can't.
a little bit.
Well, bet.
And he fucking does it in this movie, and like it I don't know, it's that kind of like what it's like a stink face.
Yeah.
With
It's the
with
squish.
a squish frown.
Yeah.
Squinty eye.
That's gonna be like. Are we gonna get sued if we
Squishy,
just put
stinky,
like the thumbnail as Bob De Niro making the
Yeah.
little bit face?
It's he does it in this movie, and okay, we're gonna address the elephant in the room. What the fuck is this accent that he's doing in the movie?
Oh.
Is it Wisconsin? Is it New York? Is it Canada?
It's
Is
this
it-
West Coast like
It's supposed to be Canadian, right?
1950s.
Minnesota, Manitoba,
Yeah.
somewhere in there. Yeah.
It's like Minnesota, Canada,
It's,
Wisconsin.
It's supposed to be like this northern like.
It's awful.
Oh yeah.
It's
Oh, yeah.
borderline unwatchable.
Yeah.
And then, you made a point, Randy, about how he went from this to Cape Fear, which he also had a terrible accent.
Awful accent.
Oh.
So it was a double bad
One
accent.
of the worst.
He doesn't. We're finding out Bob doesn't have range.
No, I've never thought that he
Yeah.
did. Even, like, okay, he won an Oscar for playing Vito Corleone in The Godfather 2, which is arguably one of the greatest movies ever made. And in that movie, he plays Robert De Niro, and I find no link to Marlon Brando. I don't think he looks like Marlon Brando. I don't think he looks like young Marlon Brando.
No.
He's got the De Niro face. Now, I'm not saying it's not a great performance, because it is. He won an Oscar. I get it. But, I don't know. I'm not buying it. No range on De Niro. I like him, but I don't think he's...
Well, I think it's one of those cases that he won in that same sort of vein where it's like, oh, Deer Hunter, we should have given you something. Oh,
You think this was that? No, Deer Hunter was after.
Deer Hunter was before.
Before.
This Boy's Life.
Oh, well,
right.
yeah, before this boy's
Yeah,
life.
Deer Hunter. What's the boxing one?
Raging
Raging
Bull.
Bull.
Raging Bull. Like all of those like missed opportunities, and so
But he won for Raging Bull.
did he win for Raging
Yeah,
Bull?
and I mean he kicked ass in Raging Bull, but yeah.
I'm pretty sure he won Best Actor for Raging Bull.
Yeah, he won Best Actor. Yeah.
Okay,
Pretty sure.
okay,
And supporting for Godfather. He's got 2.
yeah. So it's one of those missed opportunities. So let's give it to him.
Yeah, and that Raging Bull was probably his biggest showing of range ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, we've got directing next. I think we've covered enough.
Yeah.
To where I mean, with directing, there's not a whole lot going on here except for drawing performances out of your actors. Which
Right.
for drawing that very first performance out of DiCaprio, I mean, fucking A.
Yeah.
The scene where they're watching with Superman, and they're all being
Yeah.
teen boys. I thought that was super well done.
Yeah.
They're he's talking about his dick.
Yeah.
Like teen boys do, I think. And don't look at me like that. And it was just a really he led that scene of like what it's like to be a teen.
Yeah.
You felt that felt real
Right.
to me. And like Ellen Barkin doesn't feel real.
No.
I really had a hard time caring about her character.
Oh, absolutely.
She got herself into the hole, so why the fuck do you care?
Right.
Really,
Ellen Barkin is lost until someone pays attention.
Yeah.
Which is exactly right.
I just feel like no character is likable because even DiCaprio's character, who is DiCaprio is charming and DiCaprio acts his ass off, but the character isn't really likable. He's a shit.
No. Yeah.
Right. You care about DiCaprio or De Niro's kids who,
Yeah.
they never had a chance.
No.
Poor Dushku.
Poor Dushku. Poor Carla Gugino, which,
Yeah.
oh man, yeah.
And I always thought that the guy that was there was like the girl's boyfriend or husband or something, and not another kid.
Right. Right.
See how much we had invested
Right.
in him.
Right? Like there's no dialogue to indicate one way or the other.
Fred had so much backstory that they
Right.
shipped him the fuck off, and that was it. That's the last we saw.
He's a senior in college. I mean, he's out of there.
Yeah.
So yeah. But all right, so let's jump into rankings then. So Frage to my left here, what do you got? Where do you rank this?
Well, so not good. I didn't even write it down. I was so angry. And I want to say that I was angry. Like the movie made me super uncomfortable.
Well, it did its job.
Well, I guess. Like I don't know how dark we want to go here, but like I really had a personal connection to this movie.
Sure.
With the like abusive step parent.
Yeah.
Not that I was physically abused, but like mental abuse.
Sure.
Or like I found myself in situations in this movie that made me like actually very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
To the point where I feel like at some point I may have turned it off had we not been watching it for this show.
Yeah.
So I don't know. In particular, the scene where like De Niro's like on top of him trying to kill him.
Yeah.
And I may have actually said like I think I have it in me to like if that were me in that scenario, which I love to put myself in this could happen to me scenarios.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like I would have it in me to kill the De Niro character.
Yeah.
Like in self-defense or whatever.
Well, there's that whole scene, right, where they're watching that newsreel, where it's some famous actress in the 50s and 60s whose daughter or son kills the boyfriend,
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah.
and De Niro gives a look to
Right.
Like, don't get any ideas.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know how this story didn't end with De Niro not dying. Like it angered me. And so it wasn't until the end of the movie that I remembered that it was based on a true story.
Right.
And I was like, oh. which then pissed me off even more.
Right.
Because, like, I didn't find, there are so many things that I didn't find believable. Like, the De Niro coming out of the house at the end and yelling, "What about me?" Like, what a complete character change, like, in minutes.
Yeah.
From him legit trying to murder his stepson.
Right.
To crying, "What about me?" I feel like that was, like, one of the worst things about the entire movie.
In a way, but I also feel like it was one of those where he had all the power, all the control in the house. And then once they escape the house, it's like, wait. You know, like, now I have no more control. Now I have no more power. So wait, what about me?
Well-
so I feel like there is, you do make an argument, but I can see the other side of it, I guess.
And in the story structure, you kind of see little keys where he's not really looked upon.
Well, he's weak.
in favorable areas,
Yeah.
like everywhere, like at the turkey shoot.
He can't shoot. He can't provide.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Like there's even
Oh, God.
even at the Boy Scout thing, like they're like, and then, so like he always takes it upon himself to take from everybody else to be better, to give off this air, and he's not. You
I
know?
loved The Gay Kid, by the way.
yeah.
I thought that was a wonderful story, like a little side story. I thought it was gonna lead. Now I wasn't thinking that DiCaprio was gonna, like, experiment or anything, but I thought that their relationship was going to.
That he would
Like-
at least leave with him.
Right. I thought there was going to be something more there, like maybe the gay kid talks him into murdering the stepdad. You know, I don't know, something. Like, maybe I just kind of over dramatized the whole thing, but then it's a real story, so you can't,
Right.
which pissed me off even more. I find absolutely zero idea, like, I have zero belief that his character would go on to, like, prep school or become a whatever higher education that he went on to in the little liner notes at the end of the movie
Yeah.
that says he survived and became rich and famous or whatever. Like, I don't buy that character
He
did that.
All he did was become a writer, and then he got like honorary degrees.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that tracks,
Yeah.
because I'm like,
'Cause
there's no way.
everywhere he went to, he got kicked out of because he was not good.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
Like, the whole thing's a facade, right?
Right.
Because his mom put him in shitty situations. So, Frage, you rank it 1 out of 10? We're
I-
on the spot.
I think I'm going to go with a straight 5 right down the middle.
Me
Go
too.
with a 5.
Yeah.
Wow, higher for me. I guess, you know, nostalgia does play a part in this.
Yeah.
But I put it at a 7.
Okay.
I put it at a 7. But yeah, I do agree that it doesn't hold up nearly as well. And structurally, oof, yeah, it struggles. But
Yeah, I think if you really want to, hopefully everyone listening has watched it in advance and is listening and reacting
Yeah.
with us. Please, like, leave your comments and thoughts below or whatever. Let us know. But I don't know. Like, to me, if I ever wanted to go back and rewatch this for whatever reason, it would be kind of a case study of DiCaprio. Like, I would want to watch DiCaprio again.
Yeah.
He is the only redeeming quality of this movie. De Niro, just abusive, and, like, I can't. I can't. You laugh, but I can't.
Yeah. I mean, I think the missus will probably watch this by herself because I've no inkling to see this movie again.
Sure. Yeah, I don't really think that I will ever want to watch it again.
this is the first time I've seen it in 15 years or better. And
Yeah.
I can't imagine another time where I'll ever need or want to watch it again. So I may never.
Until your
but-
sister comes to town and says, "Oh, let's watch that DiCaprio film."
Remember we used to watch this movie? Yeah, but
Hey, thanks for bringing this to the table.
yeah, so I was gonna say, I mean, I don't know if all right, before we close out here, anybody else, any other thoughts? I think we've covered a lot.
I don't think so. I'm genuinely repulsed by the De Niro character and in love with DiCaprio, and
Yeah.
that's pretty much my view of this.
So thanks to everybody for listening here while I brought this one to it. So please join us next time when
Oh, do you?
old
Yeah, we're
Uncle Dude brings.
we're gonna revisit another 1993 hit,
It is a hit.
in which we'll take you to the last day of school in 1976 for a little Dazed and Confused. So
I can't wait. So yeah, thanks for joining us, and can't wait to see you next time when Uncle Do brings another movie to the table.
To the table.
Adios.
Nighty night.